48 hours in Lisbon, what to do, see and eat. And at the end of the video, I'll also share some Portuguese words which I'm sure you'll find come in really handy. My husband and I booked our trip with BA Holidays. It was a weekend away to celebrate our wedding anniversary, and the flight was about 2.5 hours from London Heathrow to Lisbon Airport. We got a taxi from the airport to our hotel. It was about a 25-minute journey and usually costs around €35. We travelled at the beginning of March and we arrived in the sunshine. The weather was definitely warmer than the UK and there was no time difference. We were staying at Hotel da Baixa, which is a lovely 4-star hotel in the city centre on a quiet pedestrianised street. So let's start off with do. As it was our first time in Lisbon, we wanted to get a sort of overall feeling for the city. So we decided to book a 2-hour TukTuk tour with Mon and me, and that was booked via the hotel. It was a great way to see the city and learn about the history of Lisbon from our local guide. He took us to several viewpoints over the city and introduced us to some shops like A Vida Portuguese. It's definitely a must-visit place. There are 3 stores in the city and they sell a wide range of homeware, food and drink. And I highly recommend visiting to buy a souvenir. We bought some glasses. Another place which I recommend you visit is the Time Out Market, which is a food hall with lots of different places to eat and drink. We also had a visit to the LX factory, which is an old industrial complex which is now home to some trendy restaurants, bars and shops, and we had a spot of lunch there. I might also have had some chocolate cake and hot chocolate, but I'll tell you about that a little bit later. So what to see? Well, there's just so much to see. The decorative tiles seem to be everywhere on so many of the buildings, and I really loved capturing them. One of the first things I think of when you say Lisbon to me is the vintage trams, and the number 28 takes you through the narrow streets of much of the historic centre of Lisbon. St George's Castle is on one of the hills overlooking Lisbon. You can see it here in the distance with the flags flying, and it's one of the top attractions. One morning we got the modern tram, number 15, to Belem, and at Belem there are 3 main monuments. The first one is the Jerónimos Monastery, then there was the Belem Tower, and finally, I'm not going to even try and pronounce it, but this monument, I'll put on the screen now, represents 33 historical figures involved in the Portuguese discoveries. Back now in central Lisbon is the Santa Justa lift or elevator, and it takes you from one area in Lisbon to another. It was built by an admirer of Gustav Eiffel. Now he did queue a little while, but then we decided to actually walk, and yes, it was uphill. Lots of Lisbon is uphill, but it didn't take so long. It took us about 10-15 minutes. What to eat in Lisbon? So we're going to start with the sweet cakes, which were my favourites. And of course, when you think of Lisbon, you think of their Portuguese custard tarts. And there are 2 main bakeries which we visited. So if you go to Lisbon, try them both and see which you prefer. Landau, it was complete chocolate heaven. I had one of their hot chocolates, and I also took away some of their chocolate cake. Now on to evening meals, and the first place I'm going to recommend is a place called Patio, and I just loved the general vibe of the place. My husband started off with prawn cocktail, then we both actually ended up having chicken piri piri, and then for dessert was pavlova. The second place I'm going to recommend is Sacramento. We did lots and lots and lots of walking while we were there, and I highly recommend if you go, you wear really comfortable trainers. We did about 7 to 8 miles a day, and yeah, it was such a great way to see the city. Another tip to share with you is to save money. I actually got a Starling card before I went, and I set it up on my iPhone so that I could use Apple Pay, and that would mean that I wouldn't be charged any of the foreign exchange commission rates, which is really, really handy. I just moved some money into my Starling account before I went, and then use that to pay for things and not be charged for the commission. Now I'm going to share with you some words, just really simple words to use in Portuguese, just to be polite really, and I'm going to put my glasses on so I can make sure I read them properly and pronounce them for you. So if you want to say thank you and you are female, you say obrigada. And if you want to say thank you and you're actually male, you say obrigado. When you want to say hello, it's really simple. It's hola, which is similar to Spanish. And then good morning is, right, it looks like good day, but it's bom dia. So yeah, there's just a few of the Portuguese words which we picked up. I highly recommend a visit to Lisbon for a long weekend. We really enjoyed our time there, and the people are so friendly. The weather was a little bit warmer than the UK, and there were so many lovely things to eat. And the wine was incredible. Oh yes, I forgot to say, the wine, every single restaurant you go to, you can only get Portuguese wine. Well, the ones we went to anyway, and it was so delicious. So yeah, that was it, a weekend in Portugal. If you're looking for a break for the summer and you want to go and chill on a beach, then I'm sure you'll really enjoy this video that's on the screen now.